So the interesting thing about music is, I think, is that it's an extremely powerful art form, but you can't touch it, you can't see it. I'm on the second page of my talk. Music goes straight into your heart, or flies right by it if it's not your jam. But I think everyone does visualize music in a way in their mind when they hear a certain song. At least I do. Today, I would like to talk to you about these gloves, called the Mi.mu gloves. And in my opinion, these gloves bridge that gap between electronic music and visualization by using human movement. By moving my hands through the air, I can control any sound or any effect that I want, and I can even grab and modify my own voice if I want to. And I can turn the pitch down.
And I can turn it up.
And then it's gone. My name is Chagall. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and an electronic music producer. And I used to do live performances where I'd be behind a big table full of electronics and machines. I really enjoyed performing this way because I love technology. But I also realized that for my audience, it was quite difficult to understand what I was doing. I was bent over most of the time, looking at my computer. And to be fair, knobs and faders are just not as rock and roll as guitars or keyboards. But without an expensive 4-piece band, there was really no other way to bring my music to the stage live. This changed when over about a year ago, I met the Mi.mu Gloves team at Reverb Festival at the Roundhouse here in London. This team had been working with Grammy Award-winning artist Imogen Heap to solve the very same problem that I was having, namely, how do I perform music that's made with a computer, electronic music, in a way that's as engaging as music that's made with acoustic instruments? The team felt that knobs and faders were not the answer, and that Imogen, as a performer, and her audience deserved more. I'd been following the project for a number of years, ever since Imogen presented the first iteration of the gloves during a TED talk. And when I saw the gloves in the flesh for the first time, it was only 3 years later, they progressed immensely. You can see in the pictures that there's still quite a lot of wires, and now it's only this. They look really cool and they work really well. So I was extremely inspired by the stuff that they've made, their objectives, and I wrote a very passionate email to the team, and I was very happy that not long after that, I joined the team to help them make the first commercially available Mi.mu gloves that we made last year. A team of 8 people. We're all technologists, engineers, computer scientists, designers, and we're also all musicians. Not only our team is a varied group of people, but so are our users. Most of them are musicians, one of them being American pop star Ariana Grande. She's just come off an arena world tour where she used the gloves every night. But we also have mixing engineers, producers, visual artists, and we also work with a charity called Drake Music, and they support musicians with disabilities. How do they work? Well, they're sensor-enabled wireless gloves, and they can track the movement of your fingers and your wrists and turn that into MIDI messages, MIDI or OSC. So the flex of the fingers is captured by analog bend sensors. There's 8 in each hand, 2 in each of the fingers, and 1 in the thumb and 1 in the pinky. This information is sent wirelessly via OSC messages via this board called the Exos. It's on the wrist. And we also have a board for orientation. The orientation can measure whether the hand is up, down, left, or right, but can also measure peaks for drum hits, for example. Oh. So the gloves can not only send information, they can also receive it back. So the performer finally doesn't have to be in front of the computer all the time anymore, But there's 2 vibration motors on the side of the wristband. Like any modern cell phone, it can just buzz you up to tell you something's happened. And it also has a light. The LED you can program to whatever color you want. I'm in orange mode now, which means I'm in talk mode and there's no effect on my voice. Later, when I do my song, you'll see that the color changes from pink when I'm playing the synthesizer and blue when I'm playing the bass. The data of the flex sensors can be captured and turned into postures, be read as postures. So it can differentiate between an open hand, fist, puppet hand, and one finger point. But you can really train any posture that you can physically make with your hands. The last and most important ingredient of the Mi.mu gloves, I think, is our custom software called Glover. In this program, you can train your different postures and you can map them to any OSC or MIDI message. Through mappings, you can control any sound or effect in Ableton Live or Logic or anything else that takes MIDI. So the user is free to really map any movement, any posture to any sound or any effect. And this way you can create your own very personal and very intuitive way of performing your music. And everyone does it in a very different way. It's always really fun to see a new person trying the gloves on because everyone responds and moves very different. This way, mapping really becomes an art in itself. When I just joined the team, I was granted one glove to take home to try. And one of the first things I wanted to try is I always used a lot of vocal effects like loopers and harmonizers and stuff like that in my music because I used to be on stage by myself. I still am on stage by myself, but I used to make like whole choirs of electronic voices around me. One of the limitations, though, of traditional controllers is that, for example, when you were in one key, your harmonies were in one key, it was quite difficult to change them to another. And my music and my chords and my harmonies are usually quite complex. So I tended to downgrade my music quite a bit when I would go on stage because of this limitation. But with the gloves, I noticed that immediately it was very easy to change the kind of parameters. And for the first time, I felt like I was actually being musical with electronics. So on this first afternoon, with only one glove, I wrote a song, and it's called Sappho Song. And the melody is completely inspired by the idea of changing the scale from major to minor. And I will try to do a bit of that for you. Okay. So when I put my hand up, the harmonies will come in. Like this. And then I can change the chord from minor to major. So that's all that's to it. So now the song. To me the man who sits across from you is a God. He listens carefully to your delicious voice and your laughter. And if I meet you suddenly, my tongue breaks up and I can't speak. A thin flame runs under my skin. There's only noise, can't see a thing. Cold sweat rushes down on me and trampling seizes me. I'm paler than the grass, drying, oh yes, it seems. I'm dying, dying. And I, and I. Thank you. Well, for this song, I used the gloves mainly to compose, and they were very, very inspiring. I think the gloves are at their best in a live performance. They give you lots of multi-dimensional control and bring out aspects of real audio that you usually can't see. We're used to hearing lots of reverb, stuff like that, but what does it look like? This to me, I think, is the most important part, because I'm a producer and I spend lots of my time in my studio tweaking all these kind of little details and effects. And although I like to think that my voice and my songs are still the most important part of my work, it's probably that everything is so chopped and reversed and twisted and cut. And this laborious sort of creativity we really take for granted when we hear it in a recording. And in live performances, it usually just gets put on a backing track and it's not live at all. But now I feel like I can do those things live. And the best thing about it is that it brings out all those things that you usually can't see. And actually, by moving my body like those sounds, I can actually accentuate it, and electronic music kind of gets put in the spotlight a bit more. I think that's fairer to the amount of work that goes into an electronic production, and it's definitely more fun for the audience that feels that they can now relate to the sounds that they're hearing. When you see me do a song, you might think it looks like a lot to remember, but actually it's much more intuitive way to perform electronic music. Much more so than pushing some buttons on a computer that are not performative at all. So for this year's Amsterdam dance event, I prepared a 30-minute set of songs that I all controlled with my gloves, and I also controlled the live visuals. And not one time I had trouble remembering my movements. And I'm really not that good a dancer. I'm not a dancer at all. Actually, it's quite hard for me to perform my songs now without the movement. I can't do Sappho song without going into this. I could do it like this, but it's just, that doesn't work anymore. Really, movement and my music have really intertwined, and moving my hands and my body at the same time has become the natural way of performing my songs. My movement looks like my music, and my music sounds like my movement, and that's definitely how I see my songs. I would like to play for you another song. It's called Hidden, and it's on my latest EP, Stray Flux. Except for the drums that you hear, everything that you hear is played with the gloves. This was at Amsterdam dance event where, except for the music, I also controlled the visuals. So I've got these massive hands behind me, and they do what my hands do. Okay. How this night is still and sweet, with flowers on every tree. Peace comes Thank you. Thank you.